Hi there, my name is Christina Britton. I write steamy historical romance novels set in the Regency period, or as I like to describe them, happily ever afters in corsets and cravat. I am a South Bay native. I was born and bred here. I lived here my whole life. I picked up my first romance novel at the age of 13, and shortly after I wanted to become a published author. So to actually be a published author is an absolute dream to me. A bit about my writing. My debut was with Love and Sight, and it won the 2017 RWA Golden Heart Award for unpublished writing, and then it was a double finalist for the 2019 Romance Writers of America Reader Award, both in debut and historical series. I'll just go ahead and get started on my newest book, which is A Good Duke is Hard to Find. It's book one in my brand new Isle of Sin series, and I am so excited about this series. It's set in a quintessential English seaside resort, and it also happens to be overrun by this very demanding matchmaking Viscountess, Dowager Viscountess, Lady Tesh. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on this short little passage for you. This is basically the meet cute between the heroine and the hero. Lenora is the heroine, and she is a thrice jilted woman, and Peter is the heir to the Duke of Dane, and he's also out for revenge against the Duke of Dane. So he's a grumpy hero. So I'll go ahead and start this for you. Having a very large male nearly bowl her over on Lady Tesh's front step was certainly not how Lenora had envisioned her return to the Isle. Her world tilted, the stone steps rising up to meet her. In the next instant, strong, warm hands came about her waist to steady her. A heady scent of spices and coffee assailed her senses, tangy and mouth-watering and reminiscent of sitting before a warm fire in winter, curled up in blankets in comfort. Flustered, she found her feet and stepped back. Whatever words she would have said to berate or thank the man, however, quickly disappeared into the ether as she caught sight of him. Goodness, but he looked like a Viking come to life, all broad shoulders and muscles that strained against the confines of his clothes. His hair was golden, hanging in waves to his collar, wild and untamed and sinfully thick. Pale blue eyes glinted under the slash of his brows, almost too beautiful for the harsh planes of his face. A short beard framed his jaw, shining gilded in the faint bits of sunlight that were able to battle their way through the increasingly heavy cloud cover. She swallowed hard. "I'm very sorry," he said. His voice was deep and rumbling, shivering through her in the most disturbing way. "No harm done," Marjorie said beside her. "Isn't that so, Lenora?" Had she been staring at him all this time? Lenora felt herself flush hot as those cool blue eyes gazed back at her. Of course, no harm done, and if her voice was a bit breathless, she prayed he would attribute it to her near fall. Still the man stood there, blocking their path into the house and the blessed escape from the cake Lenora was making of herself. Her face grew hotter, her gaze trapped by those oddly pale eyes. "Mr. Ashford, your hat, sir." The butler's voice cut through the moment with all the finesse of a spoon digging through rock. There was a beat of stunned silence. "You are Mr. Ashford? Mr. Peter Ashford, my cousin from America?" Marjorie asked, disbelief ripe in her voice. The man's eyes went glacial, one last long stare, and he pushed past them, fairly leaping down the steps. "Dear me," Marjorie whispered. Lenora stared after him, eyes wide with shock. "That man is the Duke of Dane's heir?" "It appeared so," her friend replied. Mr. Ashford mounted up, kicking his horse into a gallop. Within seconds, he was thundering down the drive and out of sight. So that is a passage from my latest book, A Good Duke is Hard to Find, which you can find at all online retailers or in your local store. Book 2, which is Someday My Duke Will Come, will be out in January. You can find links to all of my books at christinabritton.com. Thank you so much. Bye.